your sis, Kathy Yvette. Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for stopping by. Queens, you know, it's been a really crazy week. Definitely Kings, thank you if you're stopping by. We're going to hop right on in here. Before I get started, definitely subscribe and hit that notification bell so you do not miss out on future content. So let's just get on in here. I am going to try to gather up all of this in this juicy past 2 episodes of ZATIMA as quickly as I possibly can. But I'm sure there are some things that we can talk about, and please put it in the comments, your remarks and your thoughts on this very intense season 3 and 4, not season, episode 3 and 4 of season 2. I think that this was the perfect 2 episodes that gave an example, the perfect example of why 2 beautiful, well-intending people need to wait to get together, because it can be a great matchup, but at the wrong time. In the real world, we know this TV, but in the real world, don't make moves like this when you have trust issues due to family trauma, due to infidelity, due to molestation. Whatever the issues may be, deal with that pain and that trauma so you don't carry that into your future relationships, because it will make it very toxic. And we saw a lot of this, even though ZAC and Fatima are great support for one another and they really love each other. Give yourself that time. For anyone who has experienced this in the past, and you may have met an amazing person, you may see it as, you know, they can help you get through your trauma. They can help be that support. They can be there as a friend. That would be great. But to build a relationship, it's going to roll over. And whatever you dealt with those issues, it'll flow into your new relationship. And it can break it up when it could have been a very healthy, happy relationship. Now, I hope ZAC and Fatima, this doesn't do anything to break them up in the future. They have to really watch the people that they're around them, who they listen to as far as friends, and both get that individual counseling that they need, so that way they can get together as whole people. So now when we get into episode 3, we have our girl Deja, who got her neck brace on, and she's stumbling out of the car trying to get her groceries out, and ZAC and Fatima are coming out the apartment. Now ZAC is still dealing with his trauma, we know, from the night before, and the conversation and all that went through with his mom. So while he was in the house, you know, Fatima wanted to know if he's good, and he's getting her to work because, you know, she don't have her car because old boy had fixed the tire. So they on their way out, and Fatima was looking lovely. I may add, with her fuchsia satin suit. I'm like, you better go ahead, Fatima. So yeah, so she does not want to deal with this girl, and of course Deja, like, you know, blaming her because she like, you dragged me up out of that hot tub, and, you know, all that madness she dealt with last season, and evidently it caused some trauma to her neck. Whatever. You brought it on yourself, Deja. But ZAC wanted to go help her, and Fatima like, you better bring your behind on. She's like, you're not gonna help me? She was like, oh, I'll help you, because of course she don't want ZAC to do it. So she goes to pick up her bags and proceeded to smash it against the wall. She said, you mess up my wine. And she got messed up my tampons. She was like, don't worry about it. Your tampons will soak that wine right on up. You know, I had to laugh on that one. But I'm like, Fatima, you always going overboard, girl, with your temper. But Deja needs to, like, stand down, get your own groceries, and handle it as best you can. I don't know how you got it to the car, but you better find the same way to get it to your house. And do it one bag at a time. If you got to take some stuff out because it's too heavy, do what you got to do. But she still be trying to put that dig in, regardless of whether getting her behind whooped. she still be coming after Zach. Deja will not learn. Deja is Deja. For comical relief, she is a trip. So now they get to the job, and Mr. Construction Worker, I think his name is Paul, is there talking to Angela. Well, Angela is like, of course, she probably trying to get her little flirt on, but you giving everything to him that you got, girl. You was looking fierce. You was looking fierce, girl. The hair and the outfit was nice, but you see how this is the difference. This is how I gotta throw this in, and it's no shade on any woman who likes to show their sex appeal, but you see what Paul was attracted to with Fatima and how she can't carries herself, and even though she's engaged and she's with Zach, but you see how she didn't have all this hanging out, giving too much, flashy and extra. Men can, so if the sisters, young sisters out there, listen to mama, you can have sex appeal and still look modest. You can be sexy and say a lot and still be covered up. And flashing everything out and exposing everything to the world does not define sex appeal. You can ooze with sex appeal and have a burlap sack on, but there's something in the way you carry yourself, something in how you talk, something in your beauty that says more than just what you have on. So, a man will peep that out with the difference between Fatima, which she illuminates class, compared to Angela. So overt. So sometimes tone it down. And that didn't take anything away. Fatima didn't have all that exposed, and she still had class and sex appeal, and she still caught this brother's eye. So that's a little tip from Mama Kathy, okay? So just keep that in mind, all right? Now, so Zach is like, who is this? So he's up there going off, and, they exchanging words, and, she thanked him for the tire, and how much do I owe you? And he's like, you don't have to. Now, Zach is like, what you mean she don't owe you? Now, coming from a man's perspective, you did a favor for my girl. You need to be paid accordingly, because I don't want you to think that now my woman is indebted to you for anything. Even though Zach got a little crazy and silly, but on a serious note, I'd rather pay you, brother, and thank you very much, as opposed to me feeling, you just did it just to be nice, but you never know where man's mind is. Remember, I did that favor for you. Can you do something for me? They'll have that mental note that they'll keep categorized. They may come off as a nice gesture. Not saying a man can't do anything nice to you for free, but when you think about two men, I don't want my woman to have to owe you anything. I'd rather take care of it with you myself. But it was an insult. Zach was offered this man $7, threw it at the man, talking about he could get him a couple shirts or whatever. Let me tell you something, Zach. I don't know, the last time you was probably in a thrift store or whatever. They ain't even doing those no couple shirts for no $7 these days. Even the thrift stores out here upping up those prices, because of, it's rough out in these streets. So they trying to make money, even if it's charitable or even if it's a thrift store or Goodwill. You lucky you get that one shirt now for $7. So I digress. And so, so Fatima, Angela looking at Zach like that's rude. This man looking at it like he's rude. And there's a way you need to carry yourself. Zach should have not flipped like that in front of this man, because now it's a signal that she's in a hostile situation with a man who's violent, crazy, jealous, and, let me come in here and give her a little taste of some cool water from dealing with this hothead, right? Because this is too much heat over here, and she needs to be cooled off. So that's what he's trying to be for our sis. So she was too through with Zach. She wound up walking off, going back in the room. Back in her office. So after that, let me look at my little notes, make sure I don't forget nothing. So so that was just like a crazy hostile exchange. So now Fatima's embarrassed. She had apologized to Paul, and, before she left, Zach was like, well, why are you apologizing? What are you apologizing for? Because, Zach, you acting a fool in front of this man. This is totally uncalled for. So I'm sorry you got to be dealing with all this. But, so she goes back to work now. Angela is waiting for Fatima to see if she okay when she comes back in off the elevator. And side note, Zach ran back for that that $7 he threw on the ground. Let's not forget where you came from, because you got some coins now, Zach, and I think you remembered that. And he went back and picked up that $7. So Angela's waiting for her. She says, she's okay, and they part ways. Said, she'll talk to her later. But in the meantime, Bryce comes by, and she's really agitated, the whole situation with him being by, and she's just not comfortable with that now. And I think she just wants to let Bryce go, and understandably so. But he wants to talk to her, and he doesn't know that she knows at this point. So he's like, can we meet later? She was like, I think we're going too fast. I just want to talk. So she eventually just brushed him off, said, okay, we can talk later. So, okay. Like I said, he doesn't know she knows yet, so he's a little confused. So then they leave. Now Zach's in the office, and then he sees Tony and Nathan. Now, us boys are coming to check and see, if he's okay. They know the situation. I guess they had to talk. They know what he's gone through with his mom in the past. And, they were just concerned. Now, Nathan is on a whole other level, and he doesn't even like Fatima. So Tony knows that. So Zach goes in his office, and he basically gets rid of Tony and Nathan. Yeah. Tony gets rid of Nathan and says he'll talk to him later. You know how you are. You don't even like Fatima like that. So go wait in the car. So he was like, okay, whatever. Of course, he had his little hissy fit, but he left. So they get into the office. And like a good friend that Tony is, he like, bro, I'm here for you. I'm your brother if you need to talk. They know the history. They've been friends, since childhood. So he understands what he went through. And he just basically want to see. And Zach talked to him eventually after being, upset. Just letting him know just how, he's just back to that dark place. Zach is really into that dark place. Anything that happens right now until Zach deals with this in a healthy manner, he's gonna spew stuff in an unhealthy manner. And that's what's going on. It's just a rough time. And you can see it in these 2 episodes with Zach and his mental state and his emotions. So Tony talked to him just to know, as a brother, that he's there to support him. Now, when Tony leaves, Bryce comes in, and Bryce is like, well, did you tell Fatima? And he was like, yeah, I told her. And he was like, oh, now I know why Angela's acting the way she is, because I guess he thought about that after a while, why she acting so different. And he was like, what you expect me to do? And he was like, well, why you, blowing it up? It was, just a kiss or whatever. And I'm saying, bruh, he was like, Zach was like, it was serious to him. You coming on to me, disrespecting and violating and crossing the lines of my boundaries. And then you're going to sit up here now and brush it off like it's nothing. And yes, I told my woman, because this is what we do. We talk about things important to us. And this is not cool. And Bryce really don't see that. So now he was like, he getting pissed off because he's like, I didn't get a chance to explain, because you done said what you said. So like now she got this whole different spin on it. But it is what it is. You made a pass. You went to kiss me. And I said something. And it's very cut and dry, Bryce. I don't know how else you expect, what explanation you expected. But like Zach says, I called it how I saw it. I'm like, so, bruh, I don't know what's in Bryce's mind. But he getting mad, said, I didn't do anything. It's really not a big deal. It's not like I murdered your mother or something, killed your mother. He said, what did you say? And the rage and fire coming from Zach, it was like scared Bryce. And he backed him up against the wall and like jacked him up. What he probably wanted to do. He was like, if you ever say anything about my mother again, he basically wished he hadn't. And Bryce was like, because when Zach flips, he knows it scares Bryce. So he was like, okay, man. And he was shook. I'm like, Bryce, don't go there. Because he is walking on a very thin line. He's a ticking time bomb, basically. Because now I got to deal with this construction guy at the job, probably peeping my woman. Do I got to deal with that? and now I'm just trying to deal with my mom doing what she did and abandoning me and taking my money and going like in the past. So you got to tread lightly. So yeah, that was a big blow up, and so Zach messed up. Now, Fatima sees that, you know, there's a lot of noise going on at the office, and I guess Andy called her to let her know, can she do something about that? So she goes to see Paul at the construction place, and at the construction site, and tells him, can you know, lower the noise? My boss is on a conference call. He was like, okay, let's, you know, wrap up what we doing and take care of it. She said, okay. So as she proceeded to go back in the office, he said, I'll come with you. And they go in the elevator and they get stuck. They having a conversation. At first they started, you know, how things going, you know, making a little small talk. But then the elevator breaks and they like, now I gotta wait. So, you know, he calls his people on the phone. They saying, we gonna work on it, we trying. So this is his chance to get small talk, you know, find out about her, you know, her relationship. And she was like, Zach is not always like that. And he was like, yeah, okay. After seeing that, it's really hard to say that he's just having a bad day. You know, this man is now thinking that you just in a bad hostile environment, or you some abusive woman, you know, like you don't need that drama. I'm better for you than he is. That's how another man is looking at that, especially one that's interested. And, you know, she initially, before he let her know that he was interested in her, we see her saying, you know, are you, she had some questions. I forgot what all the questions was. I know she wanted to know if he was single. Like, are you straight? Are you with someone? Or, you know, you work, whatever basic questions. And I know the last one was, are you straight? He was like, no, I'm not with nobody. No, something. And yes, he's straight. So he was like, really, Angela basically is not his type, but she is. So, you know, that's when she went on to explain her situation. You know, of course, she's engaged. She's in this relationship. He's really a good guy. As a matter of fact, he's was in construction as well. You know, trying to show that, you know, similarities. And then, of course, old boy not trying to hear that. And he like, okay, whatever. And then so they have their little chit chat, and she talked to him about how he started in the business. And he said, you know, from my dad, took it over from him. And, you know, now she's looking like this is a noble guy. This is a good guy. He has a good head on his shoulders. Professional, running his own construction business. So this is almost like side note. Let me compartmentalize this in the back. If things really don't work, it could be an option, which her friend Angela wants her to keep her options open. So of course she would never think about doing that to Zach. But this is maybe a little test, another test to their relationship, to see if Zach really is the one for her, or she should move on to someone that maybe is not as hot-headed. So proceed with caution, Zach, because now Fatima just may have a little something else to go to. I digress. So they're talking and, you know, giving his history and, you know, just sharing some things with each other. There's some casual conversation to pass the time away, but there is an interest. She's really not trying to hear that. She's happy in her relationship, and she let that be known. But he also let it be known his interest as well and what he thought about Zach. Well, lo and behold, wait a minute, let me make sure I, yeah. So lo and behold, after the chit chat, there is a thunder, a jolt of the elevator, I guess, being fixed so it can open up. And when it opens up, Fatima's falling, and as she proceeding to get her bearings and get up off old boy from helping her fall, Zach caught it like, what the? Oh my God. So yeah, he caught the little embrace. She was coming up off the ground, is looking a little shady. He already was suspected, this guy. So now he's like, what were they doing in this elevator? So he was like, I know what I saw. When the elevator opens, he like, what the hell is going on? He's like all upset. What do you think Zach was going to do? So there's a whole lot of arguing. She's like, listen to me, like they always do. Look at me, look at me. He was like, I knew this light-eyed MF was no good. Listen, I'm like, oh God. And then he said, you up here embracing, what do you expect me to think? In the arms of Bob the Builder. When he said Bob the Builder, I fell out, right? I fell out. So Fatima's trying to get him, to leave, let's get out or whatever. Now, mind you, the elevator closed again. They wound up stuck again. He was like, I told you we was in a situation with a stuck elevator, because he thought old boy did it on purpose to get her in there. So they arguing back and forth, and just exchanging words. So eventually he came up to him, because Zach was coming up like he wanted to do something, and old boy slammed him against the wall. And he was like, whoa. Like Zach didn't expect that, because, I guess he said he'd been in the military and all this. He tried to break it down to Zach like, I don't want to hurt you and blah, 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 blah. So, and that's one of the things that he shared with Fatima as well, that, he was in the military. And she said, my father was in the military too. He said, so you don't see that this is bad, being, growing up with a military man, his attitude and, just knowing the difference between, I guess a good character and not so good character. So, yeah, he handled Zach, and he wanted Zach to calm down and listen. He was like, nothing happened. Your girl, she just fell. I was catching her, and she's done nothing but talk about you. And that just showed a noble side of Paul, because any other man really didn't have to say she was talking good about you. Like, don't blame this sister. She's a good woman that you have, and she loves you. She talked about you the whole time. Like, she's defending you, brother. So that was really noble of him. That was a good quality in his character that I like. That he let him know that. So Zach was like, okay, and I knew it wasn't gonna be okay. The minute he let him go, then he cold clocks my man, and he was like, how's that, Army man? He said something related, I guess, to his military status, and the guy went down. And it's like, I'm like, Zach, that's not helping with you and Fatima. Like, nothing happened. Where is the trust? And that's where the trust issues go. Fatima's not in here messing around with this man on you like that. So that was that. Let me see. Okay. Now Angela, in the meantime, is with Melinda, and she doing, I guess, her podcast or whatever on social media. Now, come to find out, when this fight went down in the elevator, maybe cameras or whatever caught it inside the office, so they saw the fight. Now, Angela got that on her phone. I don't know how this happened. She always getting something on her phone. And they're talking now, laughing about the situation. And she's like, I know that so-and-so ain't no good. And she was like, well, she loves him. And they going back and forth. And, of course, Melinda throwing shade. And she was like, well, I think saying something, she want to talk to her. And Angela basically like, she's done with you. She don't want to talk to you. And she said, just what they went through in the past. He said, yeah, because you tried to sleep with her man. No, I just tried to show her that he's no good. She's still on that story. So bottom line, she, they had their words and she left, but she had gave Melinda the information. She the one who sent that to Melinda, that whole footage of the fight. And Melinda went and put that on her podcast or whatever, which was really messed up. And this is why I don't trust Angela. Put in the comments that situation with her. Do you think she's just a ride or die friend who's just always, that supports Fatima? Or do you really think she's jealous of the situation and she's really a shady behind friend? She's really no better to me. Two peas in a pod. Well, Melinda, they both grimy. I mean, even in Sisters, we saw some of the things with the whole footage with Karen and bringing stuff to her negative all the time. What reason would you give that to Melinda when you know she don't like her? And you know they have a beef and a problem, and she has this social media. She would do anything to put ZAC on blast and make him look bad. You know this, Angela. So why would you give that to Melinda? This is why I don't trust her. So that was ZAC. So now ZAC is at the basketball court with his boys, trying to relieve some stress. They saying he going crazy. Now ZAC and now ZAC, Nathan and Tony off to the side talking. And he also lets him know, you know, like, what's up with our boy? Like, something must not be right in their relationship. And he probably thinking, you know, he winds up getting, bottom line, inviting that ex that he knows he likes. And I guess they always had a dynamic in their relationship where regardless of whether her and ZAC were apart, he had these deep feelings for her. And I guess his relief, so to speak. So, and this reminded me of another picture that I saw before, where a friend did this to a guy and messed up with his girlfriend, bringing somebody to relieve him and make him feel better, to de-stress or what have you. And this is exactly what Nathan did, which was a bad move and disrespectful for Fatima. But what does he care? Nathan can't stand Fatima. So that was that. So now Angela and Fatima are at the bar, and they're talking. And this is when she lets her know that this is out, the fight. You know, I have footage of it, and she talked to Melinda, and bottom line is she shared it with her. And she was like, why would you do that? Oh, you too nice. It's not about being too nice. Fatima, look at Angela for what she does. It's not about being nice to Melinda. It's about what she's doing to you as a friend. Angela's just too messy. She's not thinking about you and what it is that she does. She's just reactive, and I think she likes drama to go. What real friend would send this to the girl that she sees now as an enemy, that screwed her over, that tried to sleep with her man, that she caught? Why would you do that? So I think Fatima really needs to reevaluate her friendships, gain some new ones, maybe with the sisters, even though they got their own trouble going too, but everybody has their issues. But sometimes when you get to a certain level in your life, or you get new relationships, or things start to change, your friends start to change their ways, and then you start to see things different in them. Everybody doesn't have to transition with you through your entire life. Not saying you throw away your childhood friends or your college friends or good friendships, but sometimes you see another side to them when you're happy or you're going through certain things. A friend can have your back and want the best for you. She evidently doesn't take their relationship too serious or respect it, or she want to make some of the moves she makes, Angela, just like Belinda. Belinda is really not a factor to me right now. She ain't in Fatima life like that, but Angela is, and Fatima values that relationship. But the way Angela moves sometimes, and some of the things she says, is very questionable. Leaving your options open, pushing her to somebody else. It's like she doesn't want her to be as serious as she is with that. And I think that's just disrespectful. So, yeah, Fatima got upset and she left her at the bar. Now, we are back at the basketball court, and ZAC X comes in. And, you know, she's like, hey, Colette or Colleen or something like that, her name is. You know, they have a conversation, and of course she want to go away somewhere and kick it and get intimate with ZAC like they always done. You know, I know you say you got a fiance, but you know how we do, bruh. You know how we are. Come on, you can't be serious. You've had girls in the past, but this is us. You know, and we've all been there with that one person when something's going wrong, or whether they are in a relationship and maybe there's problems, always that fallback person. You know, that person you seem to always run back to when something else is not going, your relationship presently is not going right. Or even if it is, it's that one individual who shows up and thinks that you're supposed to just fall back to how it was between you two. And it's kind of hard for them when you don't do that anymore. They like, wait a minute, you really serious with this person? It's me. Like, you don't want me? No, that's called growing up and being mature and trying to respect the boundaries of my relationship and not cause any problems to mess that up. And he was fighting it. ZAC was fighting it. He was like, you know, that sounds good, and you can tell he wanted to do it if nothing more than to just situation with Paula, Fatima, get that out of his mind, and the mom and all that. But you got a good woman, and now, you know, Fatima told her he need like she need a little break from him or whatever, giving him this device to use. So he's like, I ain't trying to hear that. So I'm hoping ZAC don't move there. He don't go there. When Fatima not giving him nothing, or they get into an argument, now he done see an old girl again and running back to her. ZAC, don't do that. You please don't do that. But he fought it this time, and he left, and she was in total shock. Like, how dare you eject me? So that was that. Now, in the meantime, Fatima's on her way home, and her mom calls. We finally get to see Fatima's mother, and she can hear that there's something going on with her baby, like moms do. We know when something ain't right. But she was like, okay, you know, I'm fine, Mom, you know, just tired or whatever. And her mother's like, basically wanting to know when she's going to meet ZAC. And she invites him over for dinner. And she's like, you know, because you could tell Fatima's mother, you know, looks like a very well-to-do lady. Her father was a military man, probably very sophisticated family, good upbringing, you know, of a certain status. And Fatima probably, you know, don't want to bring ZAC and her trauma to her parents. And that's why she's holding off, because she know how they are. And they probably know about the relationships that she has had in the past that didn't work out. And really, with ZAC's background, she probably know that they going to judge him. And she don't want that. So, Mom, like, you come over, and that's that. So, she's like, okay, Mom. Now, ZAC is on his way home. And old girl is still out there needing some help as always. She can't walk, or she fell, and all of, you know, Deja being Deja. And, you know, ZAC, you always run into her aid instead of just ignoring this chick. I don't know why you just don't ignore her. But she fell, and he up there, I need help getting in the habit. So he goes to pick her up. Well, as he goes to pick her up, car pulls in, and woman walks out, and it's Fatima's mother. And he was like, excuse me. She was like, ZAC? And she was like, yes, and who are you? I'm Fatima's mother. Drop. Deja hollered, like, what? Again with the falling? You gonna break that girl boy body up. He dropped that body like, yo, Fatima's mother catching me carrying another woman in the house. Lord knows we are about to see episode 5 and 6 and how this whole messy situation, because this is not looking good. And you know Mama going to say something to Fatima when she comes in. And Fatima's going to have a serious problem with ZAC about, here you go with this girl again. Yet again. So I hate to know what's going to spiral in this again, in the saga of ZAC and Fatima. But we shall see. Until next time, continue being authentically you and live the life you deserve. Like, comment, and definitely subscribe. Until next time, peace.